Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that.
You all don't remember the Georgia Southern game, do you?
You know, I hope there's Bigfoot. I don't think there is.
Like rat poison. All right, so
it's Division I football. It ain't murals.
All right, welcome back to the Hoppy Huddle podcast. I'm Jake, that's Ed, and we are fresh out of the rolling plains of Auburn, Alabama, straight out of one of the most insane college football weekends to ever happen in the history of the world. This has been probably the most chaotic college football news cycle maybe since the announcement of the college football playoff, as far back as I can remember.
Know, man. It's between the game. I mean, we could have a whole show just talking about the games and then the playoff, and then you add in Lane, and then you add in all the other coaches.
It's not just Lane.
We don't have enough time on the show tonight to break everything down. We really don't.
We don't, but we're going to try. We are going to try. All right.
So where do we want to start tonight?
I feel like we got to start with the 1,000-pound Bayou Bengal in the room. That is the Lane Kiffin saga. Oh, my gosh. So we've kind of mentioned and talked a little bit about it on the show before, but it's kind of been a background thing that hasn't really broken open. And this really all kind of kicked off Wednesday? Like after we did our show this past week, it started ramping up as we got closer and closer to game day. And then we thought we were going to get a decision on game day. And then we didn't. And what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, good grief. I mean, I think you got to look at the whole timeline here. Basically, and some of this is getting reported. I think John Talty of CBS Sports did a pretty good job breaking this down. If LSU had never fired Brian Kelly, Lane would probably be the Florida head coach.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear at this point.
He was kind of looking for his way out in Ole Miss. I think he felt like he hit his ceiling there. So LSU job opens up. He kind of thinks that's appealing, but he keeps both options open. He then starts having conversations with Florida, and he and Scott Strickland just do not get along. Now, Florida fans are blaming Scott Strickland, right? Maybe so.
Lane's his own personality as well.
Exactly.
But I will say it is kind of been a broken record of people not getting along with Scott Strickland.
Yeah. So whether it's Strickland's fault, whether it's Lane's fault, or whether just those two people between putting those two together is like oil and water, maybe that's the case. So I think that's where it broke down. I think it broke down because Lane did not want a GM. He wanted to bring his own guy. Florida had other plans for GM. I think they're going to give in to Lane, but there was just weird vibes on both sides. And that's where it really shifted towards LSU. So then Lane, I think all along in the last week, it was probably he was leaving. It was just a matter of how long he could string LSU along. And I don't know. I don't blame him. I mean, Ole Miss, I don't blame them. I mean, come on. You can't have your rival, a guy who's going to coach your rival, coaching you in the playoff. I guess I've changed on that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear decision-wise from the Ole Miss side what they had to do, which is that they basically couldn't let him coach. You can't do that. He's got the whole staff there. He's bringing staff with him. How much it would depend, right? We would eventually find out, not just the offensive guys. But there's no scenario where you can allow Lane Kiffin leaving for your interconference bitter rival to coach your Ole Miss team in the playoff. I'm sorry, Lane, if you cared that much about the season and what you've built this year, then don't leave. You could stay, right? You can make the same amount of money. They were going to pay him unlimited dollars wherever.
Everybody's going to pay him the same amount. Florida, Ole Miss, money was not the issue here.
Money was not the issue. It was personalities. It was program potential, those kind of decisions. And, some people are like defending, how can you blame a guy for moving on? It's not that he just left to take a different job, okay?
No.
Lane wanted the spotlight. He wanted it to be all about him. And it was all about him. It was. He wanted all that. He wanted the smoke. He absorbs, media coverage like a water balloon that he just puffs him up. Like there's no, like, he could have made this seamless as possible if he wanted to.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to. He wanted to have his cake. He wanted to eat it too. And he wasn't really realistic about the trade-offs that come with leaving for a new job. And
No.
have been, Lane has always been up to some antics. He put out that documentary about how he was a changed man. He's doing all this different stuff. And, it turns out, people are sharing stories from his time at Ole Miss that is not the case. He is not a changed man. He's the same Lane Kiffin that he's always been. Maybe he's repaired his, relationships with his family, which, good for him. But he is the same Lane Kiffin, and he will be that way in Baton Rouge as well. I don't expect anything different from him, and I don't think we need to go into details on a lot of the stuff that's getting leaked. But I will say, I don't really. All the people that are saying all this stuff about him now don't have the moral high ground because you just covered up for him while he was there. So, like, what, you're releasing all this stuff now, so you were just holding on to it for 3 years. These are some of the allegations floating around about Lane Kiffin. But in the long run, those don't mean anything.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's just ridiculous. I think Lane, he brought it upon himself. He's acting like he's the victim here. That's what really irritates me. He tried to come off like, his way he talked yesterday, like he's the victim. He's not the victim here. Ole Miss is the victim, if anybody is. And it's, I feel bad for those players. I mean, they have a chance to, who knows if they can beat Ohio State or not? Probably not. But
maybe they won't play Ohio State. You never know how these things break out.
You don't know how this thing goes, but you kind of just shortcut them at the knees. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
And let's also talk about, everybody in the media, oh my gosh, the love for LSU just blows me away. This is a program that has lost 3 to 4 games every year since 2011. Except for 1 year, the 1 year where they had 3, like, I don't want to call NFL Hall of Famers on it, but we're getting darn close. Okay. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow.
I'm not doubting that. I'm doubting where you're going with this LSU thought.
But my point is that we seem to fall in love. Over the last 14 years, they've had one great season. Every other season has been 3 or 4 lost seasons. One.
Yeah, well, what happened 15 years ago?
Well, I understand. Well, okay, but 15. Then we can go back to Florida. But I'm saying, it's been one good season out of a decade, and that's because they had 3. You and I could have coached that team with Burrow, Chase, and Jefferson.
But the backstory behind that is that team was assembled because of how easy it is to do talent acquisition in the state of Louisiana. That team didn't just randomly come together. Nick Saban.
Jake, in today's world, you're never going to get that team together again because of NIL and revenue sharing.
They wasn't just the defense and the lines and everything else was built around that team. Okay, other schools have put together incredible classes and recruit their butt off, and they don't just win with Ed Orgeron as their head coach. Okay, LSU is the program. It's like Ohio State, except that
it's not Ohio State.
Instead of nationally,
they're not Ohio State, Bama, or Georgia.
In the modern era, they are never permanently down. They are an A+ tier program.
They are not the A+ program that everybody makes them up to be. They lose 3 or 4 games a year. They aren't. Go look at the record for the last 10 years. They're not.
Okay, what was the record before Kirby got to Georgia?
I understand.
Just because you have bad coaches doesn't mean the program potential is not at the highest possible
but the
level.
media is making it like they're Alabama. They're not. They're not
Alabama. Was Nick Saban. There was no differentiator.
But
what's
again,
the difference between
the
Alabama
media love for
Saban
LSU is overwhelming, and that
what is the difference between Alabama before and after Saban and LSU?
Before
no
Saban,
difference. 9-win games, 9-win teams, 10-win teams, 8-win teams. Like they're the same.
They're not. Alabama can sustain it. Georgia can sustain it.
LSU can sustain it.
Mark Richt was winning 10 games at Georgia.
Right.
LSU has won 10 games.
They won it. What do you mean? They won a national title.
One title with the greatest team ever assembled. Okay, with 3.
Okay, what are we even talking about here? I can't believe that you're arguing that LSU is not a top 4 program in the sport.
I'm not saying I'm not saying it's not a great job. My point is the media is fawning all over themselves to compare it to like Alabama and Ohio State, and I think it's a tick down. And part of that is that they will themselves into Lane taking this job. Did you watch ESPN Game Day on Sunday or Saturday? I mean, those guys were just, he's got to take.
Oh, don't talk to me about Game Day. I'm not going to defend or make the case of any of the Jimmy Sexton mouthpieces on that set. All right.
Yeah.
I look, I am not on that level, but to pretend like LSU isn't the most or one of the most coveted programs in all of college football,
I don't think
is crazy.
I don't think it's any different than if Michigan's job opened up.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think recruiting classes clearly differentiate the talent. LSU, the state of Louisiana alone, has more talent than the entire Michigan football team.
But you're looking at it pre-NIL days.
It doesn't matter. NIL is an equalizer now. It is washed through the system. The first movers had the advantage. The Ole Misses, the Indianas, they had the first mover advantage. That's gone now. It's an equalizer, and those other factors are playing a part again because the money is evened out.
Now you've got parity because of it, because you can't keep the depth. Because before you could keep more of those people on your roster. Now you can't.
It doesn't matter about keeping them. They can filter up.
No, I disagree. I mean, that's why you're seeing these other teams take advantage, because they can Georgia can't stockpile 3 deep anymore.
LSU, okay, from a pure numbers perspective, LSU is way more money than Ole Miss. This is not debatable.
I don't know if you can say way more now at this point.
They do. You can just count the seats in the stadium and say that they have more revenue than Ole Miss.
They got more seats in the stadium.
And they sell out more. They have bigger
just because
boosters.
they steal money from the Children's Hospital.
Yeah, they steal money from a children's hospital. Right, exactly. The LSU, the state of Louisiana.
Well, all right.
The GDP
we're going down a rabbit
of Louisiana is greater than the GDP of Mississippi, and these are, if you want to go there, like.
All right. The bottom line is I just think I think some of this was just way too played out by the media's love for LSU. That was my.
I'm not gonna defend the media here. The media are atrocious and horrible, and Jimmy Sexton and his consequences have been a disaster for the human race. So I'm not going to be defending the media here, but I am going to defend the prestige of the LSU coaching job.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my opinion.
Right. Well, so then the trickle-down effect of all this was Florida job ended up going to John Summerall. 3 weeks ago, everybody wanted John Summerall, and now the Florida
Auburn wanted Summerall.
Auburn wanted Summerall. That deal, Florida fans feel like they got rejected, so they're not as happy, although I think they'll come around on Summerall. If Summerall was the hot candidate, everybody
I think
wanted.
They will too.
He is not Billy Napier 2.0. I know that for certain. He's a different breed. He understands what he's getting into there. He's not bringing that baggage. I think they're going to see a different program under John Summerall. Auburn, which at one point Saturday night probably felt like they were being left at the altar, they rallied quickly to get Alex Golesh, who I actually think is a great hire as well. I think Auburn and Florida both got good hires in this cycle.
Yeah. And honestly, if you're an Auburn fan, I wouldn't be super disappointed, because it's not you need someone to come in and kind of straighten things out. And I think, honestly, the position that Auburn got put in, where they were kind of scrambling, may have been the better situation than ending up with another booster coup and DJ Durkin taking over and like all the nonsense that surrounds that. So,
and Durkin, they're still working out the negotiations with DJ to stay on staff.
I think is he gonna stay?
They were still talking to him today, last I saw, and I haven't been on Twitter.
Okay, my thought was that like he's gonna stay, but they're still working out the details of that.
I think so, and I think Golesh would like to have him on staff. That would be a big coup if he could stay on staff.
Yeah,
then I think Golesh is really starting to put together.
And I also saw rumors Byron Brown may be following Golesh to Auburn.
Well, that would be interesting, because then you'd have Deuce Knight, Byron Brown, and Ashton Daniels. That gives you some options at quarterback.
It does. And Knight was always going to sit for a year at least. So I don't think he's going to be flying to transfer out immediately.
My guess is Daniels would hit the portal then.
Yeah, that would be my guess too. But I think Brown's a better quarterback than Daniels anyway.
Probably so. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about actual real.
I just want to run over the other coaches real quick. Yeah. Ryan Silverfield to Arkansas. Silverfield kind of, you got to jump when you can jump. He wasn't, these group of 5 programs. Arkansas is we talked about it all year. Everybody knows this at this point. Arkansas is not spending money in football. They say they're going to. I don't believe them. So, I mean, good luck to Silverfield. My guess is he's going to be a coordinator at Georgia or LSU or Texas, or an analyst at Georgia or LSU and Texas in 4 years. Who else got hired? Also, Bob Chesney went to UCLA. That was pretty interesting. Not getting the Penn State job. I think Chesney's a good coach. I'll be interested to see what he does with the UCLA program if they really want to invest. I think that's probably more of can the institution get aligned behind the program? And it kind of makes me sad they're not playing in the Rose Bowl anymore. But what is anything at the pursuit of the almighty dollar? Who else got hired? Let's see.
Well, Pat Fitzgerald got hired at Michigan State. Jonathan Smith was fired.
Yep. And you have any thoughts on Michigan State?
Jonathan Smith, I think he's a great football coach. He never got it going there, and I don't know why. I don't know if it was just he couldn't get alignment, if he couldn't get the program. It just wasn't a child. There's just a lot of. I don't really understand why that didn't work. He was a good coach. Pat Fitzgerald knows what it takes to win in the Big Ten. Although his last few years were rough, but I do think he's at least going to make. He always got the most out of his teams early on. I think Michigan State will probably be more competitive right away.
I agree. I will say, if I were Michigan State, I'd be a little disappointed, not in the fact they hired Pat Fitzgerald, but in what hiring Pat Fitzgerald signals, which kind of says, like, we're not upping our investment. We're going to be a maximize with what we got kind of program.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't make a play for an OC or someone like Brian Hartline or someone like that.
Right. That would signal that you're like, hey, we're heavily investing into football. We're going to elevate to another level. We're going to spend. And I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're content to spend on basketball. And I think Pat Fitzgerald is familiar with winning, doing more with less. And I think that's kind of what Michigan State is saying by hiring Fitzgerald, despite the fact that I think he's a great coach. I think Fitzgerald's a great coach. I think Northwestern screwed him. I think that came out in court very clearly that he was in the right there. And so I'll be interested to see how that works out. I think he's a good coach. So
yeah, the last piece to follow is Penn State. I think they seem to either they don't have their act together or they've been waiting for Kalani Sitake the whole time. Looks like a deal's going to get done for Sitake after the championship game this week, maybe.
Yeah, but I heard that BYU was pushing back on that, and they were also trying to put together a counter offer to keep him.
Well, if they win the game, well, BYU's place in the playoff is still tenuous. I mean, so if they win, they're in. If they lose, I mean, do they really have a slot? I don't know if they do.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. We can talk about the playoff committee and everything wrong with that for hours and hours and hours. But
we probably ought to save that for our preview show, maybe Thursday night or something. Yeah. But because we really don't know, because I mean, it's just going to be speculation until we see where Miami's going to be on this newest ranking.
Kentucky fired Stoops. You kind of had to do it, I guess, just to keep it going. I think he maximized the program there the best you could. And I think they should build a statue of him and give him a nice big house in Lexington to retire onto if he wants to do anything. Although my guess is he'll go coach somewhere and wait for the Iowa job to open up.
Yeah, and names you hear there: Hartline. You hear Stein. Stein's Will Stein, the OC at Oregon. He is a Kentucky native.
Yes, but he's a Louisville native, and
Louisville native.
Played and coached at Louisville.
But he does have Kentucky roots.
I don't know if that means anything to him, but
probably, maybe not. I'm not sure he's going to want that job. Hartline's name has come up. Hartline has, I guess, Kentucky. His brother played there. I don't know if Hartline wants to.
Hartline's interesting because I kind of picture him as more of an ace recruiter, CEO kind of program. He is the best recruiter on Ohio State's staff, and so I kind of thought of him as going to one of these other programs that really digs in with the recruits.
But at what point does Hartline leave Ohio State? Because I mean, Ryan Day's not going there probably anytime soon.
Right, but I mean, I don't know. Does he leave this cycle? Does he leave next cycle? He can kind of stay as long as he wants, but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's we're kind of getting to the end of the big coaching hot decisions. I don't think anybody else major is going to get fired at this point. Probably would have happened. Um,
Right.
so I think
It's
I
just
think we're
all
no.
eyes on State College, and that's kind of where we're at. It is notable. Oh, did we talk about Eric Morris to OSU last week?
I can't remember if we did or not. We may have mentioned Eric Morris
Yeah,
from North Texas.
Eric Morris, North Texas to Oklahoma State. Notable. Sumrall and Golesh are going to be coaching their teams to the conference championship game and playoffs when that happens. So,
And some people were upset. Well, how can Summerall coach Tulane if they make the playoffs? Well, it's simple. He's not going to coach a rival in the same conference.
yeah, in one state over. If Lane Kiffin was leaving for Oregon, they might let him, right? Like
maybe, yeah, but it's different. It's P4 versus P5. It's
also
P4
that,
versus
yeah.
Group of 5. It's apples and oranges.
Right.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the action this past weekend, and we can just talk about the impact of the playoff race. And then we're going to do, I guess we'll do a ranking and conference championship preview show later this week, either Wednesday or Thursday night.
Yes. Yeah. Let's probably Wednesday.
Okay. So what game do you want to talk about first of the week? I know we were able to watch a number of the games together.
Oh man. I think we got to talk about Ohio State finally breaking the streak. Will Stein is UK's main target. Yeah, we know he's their main target. We just don't know
he's
if
their target, but will he take the job? Yeah.
Yeah, we know he's their target. Will he take it though? Is the question. I guess we got to talk about that game, Ohio State, Michigan. Ohio State finally broke the streak. And, for about a quarter and a half, it looked like a repeat of the last year was coming. Ohio State couldn't do anything. Michigan was running the ball really well. And then Ryan Day was like, wait a second. I'm Ohio State. I have the best wide receivers in the country and one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I should throw the ball to them. And then they did, and then Michigan couldn't stop them, and the game was over.
Yeah. I'm not even sure it was a quarter and a half that long. I think it was maybe the first 5-8 minutes of the game. And Ohio State
only the first quarter, yeah.
And Ohio State didn't really look phased. I think that was the difference. This team didn't seem to be real bothered by it. Yeah, they made a mistake. It was they got the first run of the game, and then Michigan really couldn't do much after that. Then Ohio State gets the ball. He throws the pick. It was a bad throw. They score a quick field goal, but Michigan couldn't really score. And then after that, it was kind of it. Yeah. And Ohio State just kind of slowly bludgeoned them to death. That 21 play drive in the third or early fourth, or it just kind of killed them. I mean, Ohio State, we've been saying this. This has been the quietest team all year at number one. And they look like a team that just they're just not tested, and nobody's pushing them. Now, they're going to get pushed this weekend, I think. I think this will be an interesting game.
Yeah, because I think Indiana is legitimately the second best team in the country.
Yeah, I think so. And it'll be a fun game to watch. But right now, Ohio State, they're a team that just, okay, we got to go out and do it. We'll do it. And they're not scared. They're really, what's the weakness? Where's the weakness? Because it's not on offense. Bo Jackson came out. He looks like the second coming of the first Bo Jackson. Yeah, he looked great. My goodness, he ran well. So now, if that was the one weakness, my goodness, now what do you got? You don't have weakness.
Their defense is really strong too.
Yeah, and I think it goes without saying. Matt Patricia. We always talk about great Jim Knowles did last year. I think Matt Patricia's done a better job with this defense because there's less talent.
And I criticized that hire. I thought it was a bad hire. I don't know. But
no, he has done a tremendous job.
They're overhauled that significantly.
Yeah, they are. So they are playing. They clearly now again Indiana may beat them, and I'm not even sure if Indiana beats them if it's a close game. I'm still not sure Ohio State's not the favorite to win this thing because I think
Ohio State will be the favorite to win this thing, even if Indiana beats them.
Yeah, the only thing you worry about is Indiana has played at least a couple of close games, so they've at least had to do it down the stretch. You think of Penn State, you think of Oregon.
Yeah.
We don't know how Julian Saint's going to react if he's down 7 and midway through the fourth.
Right.
Does he tighten up a little bit?
I don't know. That's something. And also, they've had pretty good protection on him all year. And Indiana doesn't have the greatest D line in the world, but they have gotten pressure on quarterbacks. They pressured They got pressure in Penn State. They got pressure everywhere they went. So if they really get staying under pressure, who knows?
It's interesting. This matchup, which by the way, game day is not going to because by the way,
yeah,
how can you have 2 undefeated teams, 1-2, and game day not go there?
Yeah, I don't know.
It makes no sense, and you know why? It's because they don't cover that network.
Yeah,
the
it's because the SEC and ESPN doesn't cover the Big Ten. And it's scam.
The SEC Conference Championship game feels like just a non-event to me. I'm not even sure I'm going to watch it. I may have it on while I'm cleaning or doing something. I mean, I really won't pay attention.
I'm going to watch it.
But this Indiana-Ohio State game, that is sit down, front of the TV, must watch. I mean, that
is the culmination of the season for these teams.
And even though we both know they're going to the playoffs, it's going to just affect seeding, really.
Yeah.
And I don't think the loser is going to drop out of the top 4. I still think they're both getting buys.
Yeah, even in a blowout, I wouldn't say so. It's just everything in the Big Ten has been building towards this collision, the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. And, the sniper that is Kurt Signetti versus Ryan Day, Revenge Tour Part 2. Like, it's all the storylines going to this game are incredible. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah. Now, of course, it's gonna be on the same time as the Virginia game. We'll get to that in a minute. But this is exciting. So Ohio State, Michigan. Let's get back to the Michigan game. I said this earlier in the year in one of the podcasts. I'm not ready. I think Sharon Moore goes in next season on the hot seat. I think we're at that point.
Yeah, but I will say this though. The team improved from last year. And they got better. And I give them credit for that because if they had stagnated from last year, I would have said this dude's riding off of his Ohio State win. That's the only reason he's treated as the level of coach that he is. But I think they did a good job in Ann Arbor of improving from last year. I just think the cupboard kind of was pretty bare after Harbaugh left. They had built to that team for like 3 years, and a lot of those players left. And they didn't do like the best job of replacing those guys through high school. And they've started to do that, by the way. The recruiting class coming in next year for Michigan is really good, solid. So,
well, I think it's getting a little warm. Maybe it's getting warm next year.
It'll be warm. I'll put it this way. It'll be warm next year.
If they don't make the playoff next year, I think he goes into year 4 in the hot seat.
Yes,
clear.
Yes, and they can't regress. They can't go back to last year.
You can't waste Bryce Underwood's entire career. And Bryce shows glimpses of ability, but they've got to get a good QB
he
coach.
Has no receivers. There's nobody for him to throw the ball to.
I hear it, but you get a 3-year window with these quarterbacks, and we're seeing it with DJ Lagway in Florida. You can't waste a year. They just wasted a year in Florida.
Yeah.
Now you gotta
go now, and you gotta spend big in the portal. You got to go get some guys. All right.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go back. Let's go back to Friday's games. I think, I remember at one point, I don't know if you were sitting next to me or it was one of your brothers, and ABC goes, "This is the greatest Friday ever with our, 3 games of super games on Friday." Oh my gosh, those were boring games.
Yeah. It was pretty.
I mean, we started with Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and really there wasn't much going on there. That was never really a contest.
It was an Ole Miss beatdown.
It was just a beatdown because you just had Mississippi State just did not have any depth on the defensive line to stop them. Ole Miss could do whatever they want. Really was never. It was just more of how many times can we picture Lane and talk about his situation of the game. That's really what it was.
Yeah.
Then we get to Georgia Tech, which I'm surprised Georgia Tech was able to. I don't know if this is an indictment. To me, this was more of an indictment of the SEC again. This is supposedly one of the SEC's better teams. And they can't score more than 16 against Georgia Tech, a team that Pitt just beat the crap out of the week before. I
am not surprised because I said all year Georgia Tech's going to play Georgia close and they might beat them. And I changed that recently, and they didn't end up beating them. Well, but I thought Georgia Tech's been a good team all year. And so I'm not surprised that they were able to hang with Georgia.
Well, but it just shows you again about, I think, this perception of the SEC is that it's a super league. And the team Pitt just hung into the last minute with Georgia. I mean, just on a neutral field. You can call that the Georgia Tech home game. That was a neutral field.
The ACC really needs to fix their conference championship thing because if we're being honest, the teams should be in the ACC championship game should be probably Miami and Virginia, or maybe Pitt. Like,
Well, the bottom line is if you don't, we're getting it. Well, you're jumping ahead here, but yeah. So Georgia Tech. We'll come back to that in a minute, Jay.
Yeah.
Let's
okay,
Georgia Tech wasn't an exciting game. Georgia Tech. The problem was Georgia Tech just couldn't move the ball and couldn't get in the end zone. That was the big issue. I think if they could have found any offense, and to me, that's probably the only bright side for Georgia going into the playoffs.
Your defense played pretty well.
Their defense played pretty well. And Haynes King had been running pretty effectively against teams. It was Georgia Tech's defense that had let them down the last 3 weeks.
Which is really funny because it's like the inverse narrative of the entire season of Georgia Tech is their offense has been amazing and their defense has sucked. And then against Georgia, their defense was really good and their offense couldn't do anything.
Yeah. So so then we get to the night game, Texas A&M, Texas. And I think upon further review, we've got to start to look at Texas A&M as while they run defeated, they haven't played the best of schedules.
Yeah, that's becoming clear now.
I mean, because now, granted, Texas is talking a lot of smack for winning this game, and it's a rivalry game. I understand that,
and they should.
But that schedule that Texas A&M has played, they played none of the top teams, and that's if you count Missouri and Tennessee as a top team.
Yeah. Now they did hang with Ohio State.
Okay, but hanging with Ohio State is not beating Ohio State.
Right.
But they lost to Florida. I mean, you're talking Texas. I mean, you're talking.
Oh,
Texas
I thought you were talking Texas A&M. Yeah.
Texas A&M. I mean, Texas A&M's their only thing is that they beat Notre Dame. That's it.
Yeah, I mean that's a good win. Notre
It
Dame's
is
a good team.
Yeah, but everybody else in that schedule has been soft as tissue paper, and so Texas, they finally find a team that at least is maybe a little bit better than the below average SEC teams, and Texas pounds them.
Now it's a rivalry game. It's tough.
I know, but I think Texas A&M could be. I think this could be that team that we thought was great.
You think
3 weeks
could
ago,
get bounced round one.
Could get bounced around one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a certain.
I mean, Marcel Reed looked very uncomfortable in that fourth quarter when
There's
he finally faced a
possibility
defense that wasn't Kentucky, Mississippi State, someone like that.
Now, most teams, even in the playoff, aren't going to have the edge rushers that Texas has. So
yeah, but most of them are going to have pretty solid defenses. I think that's
I don't know.
Texas A&M was bottom feeding on Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi State this year.
That's true.
And I don't think you're not seeing those teams. You're going to see Ole Miss. You're going to see Georgia. You're going to see Oregon. You're going to see Indiana. You're going to see teams that are going to be able to put. And I just wonder if we've seen Marcel Reed, playing the JV squads, and now he's going to be playing varsities.
Yeah. That's.
So
I kind of agree with you. In retrospect, their record has been against some worse teams.
And they belong in the playoff. They're 11-1. I'm not arguing that. Because I believe, prior to all these computers and all these power ratings that came out 15 years ago, if you're 11-1, you're better than 10-2.
Games matter.
Games matter. Wins and losses matter.
Now, I think that you can compare strength of schedule for sure.
Okay, but the strength of schedule is often determined by the rank, the supposed ranking, which is based on
not strength of record, strength of schedule.
That's what they do a lot on.
Well, I'm not. You're lumping me in with people with claims that I didn't make. I'm not defending the people that are making the bad arguments. I'm saying there is a place for strength of schedule in college football.
But strength of schedule gets pumped up because the SEC doesn't play enough conference games. They play weaker because it's unbalanced. It's unbalanced, like a strength of schedule.
I'm not. All right.
That's part of we have these unbalanced schedules that pumps up some of these records. So when you get to strength of schedule, it favors teams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think 10-2 in the ACC is a lot easier than 10-2 in the SEC.
I'm not arguing with that necessarily, but I think the line is not as great. And we get Texas A&M's 11-1 in the SEC is not that much different than a 10-2 in the ACC because of who they played.
I think it's different, but
all I know is this: Miami and Alabama had a common opponent. Miami won, Alabama lost. Miami and Texas have a common opponent. Miami won, Texas lost. And Miami played Notre Dame, and Miami won, Notre Dame lost. Yeah, but we're giving Notre Dame crap. I mean, Miami crap.
Well, I don't think Notre Dame should be in. I think Miami should be in over Notre Dame. because they
again, it
beat
just
them.
so
The games matter.
again,
Miami
these
beat Notre Dame.
games have to matter. Your record has to matter. Forget power ratings and all this other stuff. So
The games matter. Miami beat them.
Okay. Well, then we get to the games on Saturday. Miami took care of business pretty decisively, beat up on Pitt team pretty good. And that was a Pitt team that's been playing pretty well. But they needed some help to get an AC championship game. They did not get it. And those Wahoos took care of business on Saturday night. We got to talk about
they
Virginia for a second.
did. Commonwealth Cup.
That game wasn't
in
even
Charlottesville.
close. Went back and watched some of that. Statistically, Virginia Tech was never in that game.
They
never
were
in
not.
that game.
Fake op program, VPISU, fake mascot.
Yeah, it's interesting that
Wahoo, baby.
It's what's I think what gets lost. The national media is just killing this whole concept of the AC championship game. Virginia's played really well the last month, and it's been led by the defense.
Yes, Virginia's played well. They're a good football
no,
team.
So I think I asked you this the other. Maybe I asked Tyler this, your brother. Why does the national media, who purport to love college football so much, just want to dog the SEC? I mean, the ACC for this. I mean, why aren't we celebrating craziness and wildness?
Because they're all hacks, and most of them don't even like college football.
Yeah, I think so. I think they just love the SEC and Big Ten.
They like getting paid is what they like.
They want the national brands. But I mean, 15 years ago, this would have been celebrated. Oh, we got excitement. This is fun. This is what makes college football so great.
You think it would have been celebrated? I remember reading about Oklahoma State getting left out, like all these things that happened 15, 20 years ago that still have Baylor in 2014. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this would have been the same thing 15 years ago.
It just seems like we want to celebrate the sport, but we only want to celebrate it if it's Alabama, Notre Dame, or Georgia.
Bingo. Celebrating doesn't do views. Controversy does views. It's the same reason why the news doesn't run happy stories.
Yeah. Well,
Nobody
Virginia
watches.
is one rematch away with Duke from going to the college football playoff. That sentence alone ought to just is crazy.
That is a crazy statement. That has gotten said. The ACC Wheel of Destiny was spun, and Duke and Virginia are in the ACC title game.
Now, you started to say something earlier today about how the ACC's messed this up, and I agree. I think the tie-breaking system in the ACC is really flawed.
Oh, it's a disaster. We're tie-breaking off of computer models now? What? Are you kidding me?
Why wouldn't you just have, if you can't break it on record, you can't break it on head-to-head, why wouldn't you just go with the college football playoff ranking?
Yes, they absolutely should do that.
And I live with that. I mean, I know that kind of sucks.
Doesn't the Sun Belt do that?
I think another conference does.
Or no, not the Sun Belt. They have divisions. I feel like the CUSA does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of these group of 5 conferences or Mountain West maybe has it in there that the one of the tiebreakers is college football playoff ranking.
Now, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want to see who's played Miami because they probably get, I don't know. Miami.
Well, yeah, and I don't think that they should pick the top 2 college football playoff ranking teams. I think that's stupid because remember, the records have to matter. The games matter. But if you get down to a tiebreaker, then I think it's fair to use the college football playoff ranking. And there's no head-to-head. Head-to-head, record, and then head-to-head, and then you can do the college football playoff ranking.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Virginia, this is a rematch of a game just a couple of weeks ago where Virginia throttled Duke at Duke. So it'll be interesting to see. They really kept Darian Mintz in check. Interesting to see, but the line's only like 3.5 now, which is really strange.
Yeah, I don't know. Because didn't Virginia lose a really good defender?
They did lose. Cam Robinson's out. That's going to hurt.
Yeah.
But I mean, is that really going to make a? I mean, this and that was a 17-point victory, and they were up 30. They were up by 24 late in the game or more than that. I mean, it was a pretty big victory. They were up big in that game in the second half.
Yeah, that's it'll be interesting. Manny Diaz is a good football coach. I'm surprised he hasn't been floated for some of these jobs. But
yeah, he's a good. If he wants another job like that, I think he will. But So yeah, that's coming up. What about any other games on Saturday you want to this past Saturday that we need to talk about? Anything that you
The
saw?
Iron Bowl, we were there.
Oh yeah, that little game.
We should talk about the game we went to.
Oh boy, yeah, we were there. That was fun. Never been to Iron Bowl. That was a lot of fun.
That was amazing. Greatest rivalry in all of sports, in my opinion. The Iron Bowl, Alabama Auburn. Nothing tops it. It was insane. 10 out of 10. Auburn fan experience is incredible. If you haven't been to Jordan-Hare, if you hadn't been to the Plains, you need to get there. It's one of the places in college football that every fan should just go once to experience. Some of the friendliest people I've ever met. I've been to a lot of college football stadiums. The nicest people. The presentation, the band, everything is done really well there. They do a good job. And the laser show, the band, the flyover, everything was great. Man, it was loud. It was the rivalry. It was Ohio was chirping. This was the Iron Bowl, and man, Auburn almost pulled it off. They almost did. The place is haunted, as they say. Jordan-Hare cursed over an Indian burial ground, and they almost got Alabama. They almost got him. If the guy runs out of bounds instead of spitting around and coughing the ball up, they might have been an Auburn victory. But
yeah,
Alabama survives unscathed. They escape, and
it's
What
crazy.
else could you really expect from Auburn in Jordan-Hare?
I mean, Auburn had 411 yards to Alabama's 280. I think Bama only converted 4 third down attempts. I mean, when you look at the stats, there was no way Bama should have won that game. But Auburn kept turning the ball over. They had 4 fumbles. They only lost one of them, with the one at the end of the game. They threw an interception.
They couldn't catch anything all night. They were literally dropping and fumbling all the time. The ball. They need to do like ball control drills in practice, man.
Yeah, and then they had they had at least two drives at the end of the first half of 10 plays or more and only settled for field goals. I mean, Auburn did everything they could to not win this game by how they played, but they really should have. They really were able to move the ball with not that effective of a. I mean, Ashton Daniels didn't look great, but he was pretty darn good against Bama. So I'm kind of wondering. I mean, Bama won, yes, but I don't feel good if I'm a Bama fan.
Yeah, but as a Bama fan, you kind of can chalk that up to just injured hair. Like, that's just how it goes.
Maybe so.
There's never an easy game there. And so I think if you're a Bama fan, you're probably feeling okay. That you're probably feeling relieved that you got out with a win.
Probably so, because your playoffs would have been eliminated. And then they got some help from 2 calls on that back last drive. I had it's funny. I get home last night, come from the airport, and I'm kind of tired. I'm like, okay, we're just going to order a pizza. So we get home. There's a pizza waiting for us, and it gets there about 10 minutes. So I still got my Auburn sweatshirt on. My daughter's got her Auburn sweatshirt on. Pizza guy comes up and goes, "Oh, what a game yesterday! Bama got lucky again. Auburn got screwed." I mean, the pizza guy's even talking to me about it.
Of course.
Anyway, yeah, they got the calls again, but that's 6 in a row now for Bama.
Yeah, man, it's starting to become a streak.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Auburn.
So Alex Gollash has got to get that thing going. So get it up and moving.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, there were a lot of interesting games, but you get to this point, a lot of the games went how we expected them. Oklahoma survived, beat LSU, had to go down to the wire.
Yep.
Oregon kind of took care of business with Washington. No flub-ups there.
USC took care of UCLA.
Yeah. Clemson doubled up South Carolina, kind of broke Shane Beamer. I think there's a coach that's on a hot seat next year.
Oh, yeah.
I think you've got several jobs that are going to be interesting. We'll talk about in the offseason. South Carolina, Florida State will definitely be jobs people will be watching next year. Baylor will be a job worth watching. Carolina will be a job worth watching. There's going to be, just because we had a lot of jobs this year, there's still going to be jobs that could open next year.
Yep. Vanderbilt beat Tennessee. They finally did it. They blew them out. And congrats on a great season for the Commodores. You will not be in the playoff at 10-2.
No, nothing's going to break their way to get in the playoff.
It's not going to break their way. But that was great. It's a great season. Diego Pavia will probably get a Heisman invite. They had I would say best season in program history for the Vanderbilt Commodores. And if you flip Jared Curtis, run it back.
Yeah, and you just don't know. You don't know how that's going to go.
Hey, you
so
signed Clark. You kept Clark Lee. How about that? That's a win.
that
you
is
beat
a
Tennessee. It's a rival. It's a huge win. 10-win season. You got nothing to be sad about if you're a Vanderbilt fan.
Win. Yeah, you're right.
This is your wildest dreams come true. So
yes, that's the end, man. The season goes by quickly.
yeah, it's pretty sad that that was the last week, and now we've got conference championships, and then after that, that's our last. Then we got the Army-Navy game, and then that's it for the regular season.
Then we'll be talking playoffs, and
we'll be talking playoffs. We got signing day this week, right?
Is that this week or next week?
Or next week? I forget.
We
got signing day coming up here soon.
Yeah.
And I'll do a little breakdown after that of how the top classes is ended out and some key players and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So.
All righty. Well, thank you, Huddlers, for joining us tonight. And
thank
we'll
you.
be back. Which Wednesday or Thursday, Jake?
I think we're gonna do Wednesday.
Okay.
I am busy Thursday.
Yeah, we work this around Jake's social life. That's what we do. So
yeah, well, I gotta go touch grass occasionally. Some people say.
Yeah.
All right.
Wednesday night. We'll be back Wednesday night with previews of conference championships, and we'll break down the playoff ranking show from Tuesday night. Talk about Matt I get at the SEC ESPN establishment media for the fifth podcast.
SEC ESPN industrial complex.
Oh. Maybe they met Marty Smith out at this point, had some food. So,
yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow on all the socials. We appreciate you tuning in live. If you want to tune in live next time, you can throw questions in the chat. We'll answer them or not answer them. And good night.
Good night.